Right, this is the video. I've just bought the cheapest Jaguar XFR in the country. And you see in videos, and often you find that it isn't that cheap, or there's something wrong with it, and it's meant to be that cheap, and well, yeah, it's rubbish. But I wanted to get one of these cars. I bought one. I sold it 6 years ago. Bought it about 8 years ago. So I had it for. I'm gonna try and get myself out of the sun a bit. Bought it 8 years ago, sold it 6 years ago, and I've missed the car ever since I sold it. But I sold it because it was costing me an arm and a leg. It was my daily car, and I worked out if you bang it all into a spreadsheet, the cost of the PCP, because it was only a PCP as well, it was costing me about 400 and something a month, 450, 470 a month on PCP, which it wasn't too shabby. I was earning decent enough money, but then tyres, tax, fuel, servicing, everything else about it was just really, really high. And because of that, we had the depreciation on. It was just too expensive. 27.5 grand I paid for it, and I sold it for 18.5 2 years later. So I was at 9 grand of depreciation. Yep, 9 grand of depreciation in 2 years. So that on its own was madness, and it was a daily car. And when you've got a daily car, if it breaks, you don't have another car. So my experimentation recently has been around, I've got the Discovery, I've got my Jaguar, and then the other little cars that I mess around with for fun. Those two cars between them, they're costing me a bit because I have to repair them, but between the pair of them, when one breaks, the other one I can use, and vice versa. And overall, the pair of the cars between them has cost me around 300 and something, 330 a month. Plus, the Jaguar back in the day, if you add all that into a spreadsheet, it was costing me £1 grand a month for a car, and it had done high mileage. It was dealer supplied, but it's high mileage. So let me introduce you to the new vehicle to the channel. And I say I've bought this because I've been craving one for a while. I looked at it, saw it for sale. It was local to me, and it looked like a decent motor and a reasonable price at the time. It was on for 10,500 initially, and then it went down during the listing that was on eBay for about a month, whatever was on eBay, as well as being on Auto Trader. It was dropped down to 9.7, then dropped down to 9.5. And I thought, well, if it keeps going south, I've got to keep an eye on it and see what happens. And then I was at the gym on Thursday morning, and eBay sent me a notification and said, and I saw my watch, it's been reduced. And I was like, okay, whatever. When I finished in the gym, I got my phone out and it said, this vehicle's been reduced by 1,200 quid and was then on for 8,300. Methinks, either this car is an absolute basket case and it's a pile of crap, and it's going to be one of the cheapest in the country because of that, or the guy needs to get rid of it, or the guy doesn't know what it's selling. So I undenied it, spoke to my other half about it and said, what do you reckon? And she knew I'd been after one of these for quite a long time. And we said, well, I'll go and have a look at it. What arm can you do? Got there, looked around it, and I thought, well, yeah, there's things wrong with it. And I can show you around, I'll show you around the car in a minute. There are things wrong with it, but at 7 grand, it'd be all right, that. I'd take it. And obviously it was on for 8.3. I thought 7 grand might be a bit of a push, but yeah, I reckon he might go for it, but who knows. Anyhow, and turns out we ended up settling on 7.5 grand. So when you think about that, it is, or was, the cheapest in the country. There's one I saw for sale at the time this one was for sale, which was 5 grand, but it didn't have an engine and it was spare parts only. I have seen other ones go on 5, 6 grand, seen them, but they've got engine rattles, engine leaks, something like that. So they are dead cheap because they've got a big known problem. And that's what I think with this. There will be problems. I know there will be problems. But how expensive those problems are going to be to fix. When I walk around it, I'll show you some of the things that have been done. So let's go via the big boy Discovery. Still doing well. Needs a bit of a charge. Then we're on to, little cheeky view. Then we're on to Arthur, the Jag, and I'm afraid that might be leaving because, yeah, I can't afford to have too many more cars. We've also still got a Punto over there. Punto needs to go on the way soon as well. There's a potential that my nephew's got the Punto, he might have the Jag instead, so the Punto might get sold and the Jag stays around. And then around this side we've got the Fiesta, which now, I can quickly flip you on this. I've done some spray work on the mirrors that are now filthy, just touched it a little bit on the door to try and make it look less visible, alloy wheels and a new headlight, so we should be good for an MOT soon. But the one you've probably clicked on to see is this. There we go, R99 XFR. So what have we got? If you know about Jaguar XFRs already, there's pretty much point in telling you, but it is a 5 litre V8 supercharged with over 500 horsepower. Does 0 to 60 in around 4.7 seconds, 4.9, depending on who you quote. That's probably 0 to 60 or 0 to 62. Anyway, yeah, it came with a private plate, which I asked the chap, he said he paid 500 quid for that, so that's 500 quid on its own. Wheels on their own, probably about £1,000. I paid £1,000 for a pair before, or for a set before. They've got Pirelli, Michelin pilots on them, so decent on there. And then everything else on the car, you look at how much a bumper would cost, how much headlights are. So if I had to strip the car, I'd get me £7,500 back. I'm sure I would. Additions to the car then, is what we've got. So it's a standard car from the factory with lots and lots of options on the options list. I did have them. It has got radar cruise control, which does not work. It's got a warning on it. There's badly fitted tow eye cover. Chrome accents, I don't know if they were standard on here. I mean, I don't really normally like chrome accents, but I like them. And I also don't like it when these are full chrome and I've got a chrome badge, so I like that. Not a massive fan of chrome wing mirrors, but at the same time, not against them. There's marks, there's a few dents, there's a little dent there, a little dent there, nothing major. Some of the paintwork, as you might notice when you're going around, some of it's really swirly, some of it's really marked up. But there's no major dents, no major scuffs. There's a little bit around the back. As you look down the side of the car, again pretty decent. Coming around the back, where are we? This is the worst wheel, I think. There's a few bits on there. Yeah, just down there and there. But these are the sorts of things I'd rather have it mechanically okay and cosmetically not great. Because if I curb an alloy, well, it's already been curbed. If it's immaculate and I curb an alloy, I'm going to be livid with myself. This paintwork, I'm not sure I can see it. Actually, you might be able to pick it up on there. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. But it's not rusty. Oh, a bit of paint flaking off. Don't touch that anymore. There's a couple of little marks on the boot. That's about it. Inside the boot, well, that was the thing last night. I was doing some diagnostics checking, looking at all the codes and stuff, and then it wouldn't start afterwards. The battery has got an indicator on it, which is black, which says to recharge, or green for okay. So I'm hoping it needs just a damn good charge, because that's now low. My reader, my super duper charger from Audi is saying it's got 2 out of the potential 5. So I'm going to hope a long charge will make that battery okay. There is a receipt for it though, if not, and it's got a 5-year warranty, so I should be able to get that one sorted. Right, someone's bought an umbrella, Jaguar spec umbrella for the boot. The struts have been replaced because this is really hard to close. I've got receipts for that lot, by the way. Inside the car, what we've got going on. Or options from standard. I can't remember what we're going to go with first. So, in the car, we've got these illuminated sill plates. They are not standard. I believe they were an option on Jaguar vehicles on the facelift, but these have been retrofitted, and I've got examples of or not examples, I've got a receipt of of those being bought as well. So they were retrofitted. Other factory options, so we've got the adaptive cruise that doesn't work at the moment. We've got a suede headliner, which is lovely. I really like the colour of that, kids can't touch it. And a sunroof, which all works nicely as well. You may notice if you look in the rear, you've got the little blind there, blinding. That works nicely, so that was a factory option. Other bits on here, someone's aftermarket put on a Bluetooth adapter that connects to the iPod connection, which is really good. So you can control your phone through there. So I thought in that case, what I had on my old cars, or other cars, is I'd have this phone cradle in a vent, but because the vents rotate around, I like the drama. So I don't want to have them, you can do it so they're permanently out, but I don't want to do that. So I've managed to fabricate, look at this fabrication here. I've got the old cigarette lighter thing, which isn't, it's just a plug with a cap in it. I've actually modified the bottom slightly, but the top, it's just taken the plastic cap out. The bit on top of that is screwed into the original hole for this piece of plastic, because this piece of plastic was off of a treadmill that I actually took to pieces to sell. So that's then been connected to that, chopped it short, and I've connected the phone cradle to another bracket that I found. Can you see that one? That's an air vent hook that comes through and goes onto that bracket and holds it there nicely. So then you pop that in there. Obviously it's fully unmountable. I can take that out and just close the flap down if I wanted to. and then I've got a phone holder, which is great. Anyway, it's sad, isn't it? Right. Other modifications to the vehicle. I found a receipt for the steering wheel because I got in and thought that feels nice. For a vehicle that's 13 years old, you'd expect that to feel a bit more ropey, and I've got a receipt for Royal steering wheels, who are quite renowned for retrimming. So the retrim's happened and it's been tastefully done. Perforated leather, which is lovely. Normal leather on the outside, and then what kind of stitching is that? Just black stitching. Standard R logo, and then it's a bit thicker as well. I could feel it was a bit thicker, and in the manual or in the receipt it says a thicker steering wheel. There's other paddle shifters. I don't know if they're standard Jaguar ones or they've been aftermarket, but they look standard and they look really good because they're just really subtle rather than being garish ones. What else have we got that's not standard? Oh yeah, it's quite a big one. Not bad to hear that. There we have a Spires back box. So there's the receipt for the guy buying it off of a forum or a marketplace on not marketplace, a group on Facebook. Bought the back boxes, and then I've got another receipt for the X-pipe, which is the middle boxes. So what we've got here is a middle section's been deleted with a Spires kit, which is then connected to a Spires rear boxes, and they've got smaller exhaust cans from standard. So yeah, it sounds a bit good. Daily driver, it'd probably do Reading, but when you do it like I do, for when you want to, that's the joy. Yeah, so that's pretty handy. Stereo, turn that off. It's a forward alert, unavailable, and that's it. The previous owner that I bought it from had said it had a service in April when it had its MOT. I've not got a receipt for that, so I'm going to try and find out what was actually done at the service, and then try and make sure this is maintained, because there's been loads of service history to the car. It's got 107,000 miles on it. I think I'll be the fifth owner, so 4 previous owners. Make sure I got the right side down. There we go. So you might be able to see they're lighting up. These have been changed. I don't know if they've been changed for aftermarket ones, but they're a bit dodge. They work, just not that well. The wheel nuts, look, got growler wheel nuts. Tyres are in reasonable shape. One of them's been replaced in the back, which doesn't make me too happy. I mean, you can look, it probably says, you can see the state of the paintwork there. So there's things that I might be able to do to correct some of this, and there's some things that maybe not. Maybe it needs a full detail, but we'll see. Tyres, like I say, Michelin, Pilot, I think it must be Sport 4S's. Yeah, it's got 4S's front and rear, and one of them was new at MOT time. The other one was not, but they're only about 3 years old, all of them. So that's decent. They don't last very long. £200 for a front and about £250 for a rear. In here, standard affair. I do have receipts for a supercharger. And it looks like a kit has been done on it, and it could have had a changed pulley as well. And if that is the case, then £7.5 for this is nuts. But there we are. These all look standard. It's a standard air intake, which is good. There's a bit of a gasket thing going on there. I don't know why that's not on properly, but yeah. Maybe we'll do air filters. Maybe we'll do all the other bits and bobs, cabin filters. But when I come here, I can't find any. There's a couple of bits of trim up there. Look, trim clips aren't in on that part, but everything else I can't really see. There's not like bits of bodywork hanging off or broken clips and trims that you might expect from a 13-year-old car anyway. So to say this is the cheapest one in the country at the time of purchase, I don't know quite what you can expect for it. I mean, let me know in the comments if you're going to play that game. Click like and subscribe if you want to play that game. But it's, you know, I'm doing this for me. I'm having a laugh. Buying cars, trading cars. It hasn't cost me a fortune thus far. I might need to get a bit of my time back at some point, but yeah. I mean, look at it. Look at it. I was playing with the exhaust on that, I do like that car. Do not get me wrong. For the money that car cost me, I mean, even selling it, it's going to be worth around £1,000. So is this car 7 times better than that car? What do you reckon? £1,000, 7.5. £1,000, 7.5. 800 quid, £4,000. What are you going for? What are you going for? You've got 7.5 grand to buy that, or you can buy any of the others. In fact, you can buy all of the others, all inclusive, for the price of that one. That's staying. That's the one. All the rest of them can go. That one can stay. Apart from if it breaks down, I've got nothing to get me to work and the kids to school. But there we go. Standard affair. Actually, before I finish off on this video, I'll let you keep looking at the car while I'm talking. I did write a list of all the things I thought were option extras to make sure I covered them off. So the standard list price of this was 60 grand when it was new. And again, modern day money, that would now be about 90 grand standard if Jaguar still made them. Well, that's the other thing. I think these are going to appreciate quite well at some point in the future. Jaguar only made the XFR between, what, 2008 and about 2014, 15, and that's it. They didn't make it anymore. They went on to the F-types, not went on to the 5-litre engine's still kicking around. It's still in all sorts of things. What do you call it? Project 8, Project 7, the Range Rover supercharged SVR, Sport SVRs. They still have it. I don't know whether the SVRs are going over to the 4.4 BMW engine, but still, that engine's around. It's a beauty. It's an absolute beast of an engine. You can just cruise around and then stamp on the pedal and it shifts like something very quick when you want it to. So I think they're going to appreciate it because they are such fine cars. You can do everything in them, like a Swiss Army knife. It's just, it costs a lot of money to run it. Right, option extras. Sunroof, noted. Rear blind, noted. It's also got a heated steering wheel, which I don't know whether it works because I did test it, but it was so red hot, it just didn't feel like it got very hot at all. It's got blind spot monitoring, which does seem to work. Adaptive cruise, which does seem to work. Cooled seats, I thought, were an option, but those options, it looked like they were actually standard when the car was made. So maybe they became an option later on when I had my facelift one. Don't know. Illuminator seal plates, I knew they were an option. However, they were aftermarket. They weren't an option at the time of purchase. Rear camera, I think that was an option on this car. Maybe the rear monitors as well, but anyway, it's got a camera, rear camera, some of the chrome and the Alcantara roof. Yeah, so I managed to remember most of those, apart from the heated steering wheel and the blind spot monitor, I think. Other problem, look, can you see in there? That's lifting, the dash is lifting, which, oh, you might have heard that. That was Hina Town over there, must have been a goalie for those boys. Please like and subscribe, Hina Town FC. The dash is lifting, so that will have to get replaced at some point. Well, I say replaced, I reckon I can take it out in an hour. It's whether I can glue it or whether I'm going to have to pay someone else to do it for me. But that's it. Right, now I think I really am done now. Other than, look, that's just a handprint. It needs a clean already. It's been here a day. Right, in a bit.